AM 630.
WMAL. 8:37, a happy Friday morning to you. Brian Neiman and Brian Wilson back in the same studio again, from covering the conventions to Tampa to Charlotte. And we do have jobs numbers out. Here's the deal. Most people expecting $125,000. That was the number everyone was hoping for. 125,000 jobs, I'm sorry. The number came in at 96,000 new positions created. However, the unemployment rate did drop by 20 basis points, went from 8.3 to 8.1, but it is a disappointing number because the number of jobs created only at 96,000 jobs this month.
Yeah, but why does it go down? I don't understand. We need some analysts. We need somebody to help us understand.
More people getting out of the job pool, I would guess. But Peter Schiff's on the line, CEO of Euro Pacific Capital, host of the nationally syndicated Peter Schiff radio show, and also the book The Real Crash: America's Coming Bankruptcy. Good morning, Peter. Good to have you back on the show.
Good morning.
So what do you make of these numbers, down to 8.1 but only 96,000 jobs added?
Yeah, well, Obama got the headline he wants so he can talk about the unemployment rate coming down,
right,
but he didn't get the jobs. In fact, not only did we get fewer jobs created this month, but they went back to the prior month and revised the job creation down. So the only reason that the unemployment rate is falling is that people are having such a hard time finding jobs that they're throwing in the towel, they're leaving the labor force, they're filing for Social Security disability instead, and so they're now no longer considered unemployed. But they're not working, they're not paying taxes, they're not contributing to the economy. They're now living off the people that still have jobs, which is compounding our problems. And I think the worst thing is all the jobs that we are creating, or most of the jobs we're creating now, are eventually going to have to go away to have a real recovery, because these are phony jobs. These are not the jobs that we need. These are stimulus-created jobs that are in the wrong sectors of the economy. The real jobs that we need to produce and grow the economy are not being created because the Federal Reserve won't get out of the way. They won't let the interest rates go up. They won't allow this economy to restructure. So all we're trying to do is reflate a bubble, and it won't work.
All right, so I also see that June and July numbers have been revised downward. Mm-hmm. What do you read into that?
Yeah, that basically, it's worse than the government originally told us, that we're creating fewer jobs than they originally claimed credit for. And, if the labor force participation rate had held steady since Obama took office, the unemployment rate would be well over 10% by now. And of course, if you count the people who are still looking for jobs but have a part-time job, maybe a guy lost his job as an engineer, and so now while he's looking for a new job, he's serving French fries at McDonald's part-time. That guy is considered employed, mm-hmm. but really he's not employed. And if you look at the real number, the current unemployment rate is over 15%.
That's what people refer to as the underemployment rates. So basically what's happening here is that people are saying, you know what, I'm not going to find a job, I'm not going to even look for it. That drives the unemployment rate down, yep. And it makes it look good for the president because, hey, people are going to look at 8.1 and say, hey, things are moving in the right direction, the unemployment rate's going down. But the number of jobs added, it's anemic at 96,000. You need, several 100,000 in order to really get an economy going.
Well, just to create jobs for the people that come into the labor force, every month. They graduate college, or we need to create more than that just to keep the needle steady. So the only reason that the unemployment rate is not going up is, like I said, because there are fewer people in the workforce. In fact, I think the labor force participation among men. Mm-hmm. Because remember, women didn't really start working in any large numbers until the 1970s because inflation and taxes made it so that their husbands couldn't support them anymore, so they were forced to work. But if you just look at men, I think that the labor force participation rate among men is the lowest it's been since the Second World War.
Well, let me ask you a question then about that. What happens when all the baby boomers start to retire? Because they should be retiring in the next 10 years, right? Doesn't that help out the economy no matter who's the president?
Well, that's not going to help out the economy. We can't afford to retire them.
All right, but how
are we going to pay their... I don't think most of the baby boomers are going to retire. They're going to be too broke. They have no savings. Social Security is bankrupt. So I think most people are going to have to work. The question is, what jobs are going to be available?
Right. So, I shouldn't say help the economy because there's obviously going to be a social impact on that, especially with Social Security and Medicare. But if they do retire, that does create a vacuum for jobs. But you don't think they're going to retire because they can't.
Well, they can't afford to. And, of course, right now with interest rates so low, even if you have any savings, it's inadequate to provide you with any interest income. But, of course, what we need is productivity. Normally, if the government was out of the way, everybody who wanted a job would have them. But the problem is you've got so many rules and regulations screwing up the economy that a lot of people can't get jobs. And, of course, with all of the welfare and unemployment programs and disability programs, the government makes it more lucrative for a lot of people not to work, because the jobs that are available, the pay is too low. They might as well just get paid more from the government for not working.
The way I'm looking at this, I'm still going through a lot of the data as it come in, but what I'm seeing here from the Associated Press is they say this is a bleak report, which of course comes just 2 months before Election Day. A bleak report.
What I said.
It is bleak, but when you're able to say that the unemployment rate is coming down, it's spinnable, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to, as I said at the beginning, Obama is going to talk about the headline. He's going to say the unemployment rate is down to 8.1%. That's what a lot of people are going to hear. They're not going to look beneath the surface and see why it's down to 8.1%. It's not because the unemployed found jobs. It's because they threw in the towel, right, and they basically gave up on looking for work. That's how bad this economy is, that people don't even have enough confidence to go out and look for a job. They're just not even bothering. Right. And that's the only reason. I mean, eventually, maybe the unemployment rate could go down even further if more and more people just permanently leave the labor force. And a lot of these people are filing bogus disability claims. The Social Security disability rolls are skyrocketing. That's one of the reasons that we're spending so much money now on Social Security, because it's not just retired people who are getting it, right? It's people who can't find jobs, and they're using Social Security instead of unemployment benefits.
Right. All right, Peter. Good to talk to you. Thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Anytime.
Peter Schiff of Euro Pacific Capital and host of the Peter Schiff Radio Show.